Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to 100% Mags. So before I get into this match preview for the game tomorrow against Sheffield United, and of course the last home game of this season, I'd like to say, could you please put a like on the video? It would be appreciated and it would show your support towards the channel. Also, if you could subscribe as well, as we're on the road to 500 subscribers, so that would be absolutely fantastic if we could hit that. I think we're 463 at the moment, so we're not that far away. If we could hit that by the end of this month, that would be absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's get straight into the match preview for the game tomorrow. 6 o'clock kickoff at St James's Park, and of course it's live on Sky Sports. And of course, it's going to be 10,000 Newcastle United fans for the first time since, of course, March of 2020 when we played Southampton down at St Mary's. We came away from that game 1-0 winners. It was on my birthday, of course, and that was before we went into the first lockdown of this pandemic and this whole situation that has been lasting for quite a while now. Hopefully, it'll go away soon, but you know, it's just one of them things that happens in life. You've just got to go with the punches and move along. But hopefully, you know, we can get back to a little bit of normality next season, and hopefully the fans will start coming back into the grounds. But we're getting at least to have some fans in tomorrow for the game against Sheffield United. And, you know, it's just going to be 10,000 Newcastle United fans, no Sheffield United fans unfortunately allowed in the stadium. And the same for the Fulham game as well. It's going to be 10,000 Fulham fans, no Newcastle United fans allowed in the stadium. But you know, we're going to this game with nothing to play for. Sheffield United going to it with nothing to play for other than pride. And of course, you know, they're already down. We're already safe for next season thanks to that game by Burnley against Fulham, and of course Fulham already lost a bunch of games after that as well, so it was cemented, whether the media liked it or not, that Newcastle United were going to be in the Premier League next season. And of course, even more so, you know, to bring that little bit more pressure towards the media for next season, the takeover is still on the horizon, and it is going along well behind the scenes from what I can pick up on social media. So we're going to have a quick look at, of course, Sheffield United first heading into this game. And of course, the Blades won for only the 6th time this season, and of course that was a 1-0 win last Sunday against Everton. Of course, their 17-year-old debutant came in, of course, in Daniel Jefferson, scoring his first Premier League goal for his first start for Sheffield United as well. Maybe one to watch out for in the future. We'll have to wait and see on that, of course. But, you know, it's always nice to see a young lad getting himself a goal on his debut in the Premier League. Looking at us, of course, we have Fabian Schär, who is serving the last of his 3-match suspension, so he might be available for that game. Well, he more than likely will be available for the game against Fulham if Steve Bruce wants to put him in to the starting lineup for that game. But the players that won't be available, unfortunately, due to fitness issues, is, of course, Callum Wilson, who picked up that knock in the Leicester City game, which is still a surprise to me because he came off the pitch rather well. He didn't look like he had any injuries, and then all of a sudden we're hearing he's got a hamstring problem. You know, you have to take the news on the chin, I guess, and move along. But it is a bit of a surprise, that one, to be honest. But he's going to be ruled out now for the rest of the season. And alongside him, of course, is Jamal Lascelles and Carl Darlow. But we do have a little bit of positive notes to look at in the fact that, of course, Ryan Fraser and Isaac Hayden have both returned to training. They could be in the selection for the game against Sheffield United tomorrow at St James's Park. If that is the case, it remains to be seen though if Steve Bruce would want to pick them for the starting lineup. But if not, then they could possibly be picked for the game against Fulham down at Craven Cottage, the last game of the season. Now, the last time we played against Paul Higginbottom was, of course, 4 years ago on May 2017, and of course that was at St James's Park, and it was Barnsley versus Newcastle, 3-0 win. Newcastle came away from that one, bidding a farewell to the Championship under Rafa Benitez and moving on into the Premier League. So if we can have a repeat of that, that would be absolutely fantastic. I'd take a 3-0 win against Sheffield United. Hell, I'd even take just a 1-0 win against Sheffield United. Another 3 points in the bag. At the end of the day, there's nothing at stake here for we just want to get at least a positive result for the 10,000 fans that are going to be in attendance for the game. It would be nice to at least have them 10,000 Newcastle United fans being able to go home celebrating a win against, of course, Sheffield United. But I can see we're getting more than a 1-0 or a 3-0. I can see this game possibly being one of them games where, Newcastle absolutely hammer Sheffield United. And I'm thinking 4-0, 5-0, maybe at a stretch 6-7-0 against Sheffield United. I'm being very confident on this one, and the reason behind that being is that Sheffield United have been really bad this season. They haven't been anywhere near the ability that they were in the previous season under Chris Wilder and of course Paul Higginbottom as well. Not to be disrespectful to the guy, but I believe Chris Wilder was the man to take Sheffield United on. They shouldn't have gotten rid of Chris Wilder, and they're going down into the Championship at the end of this season. If they can come back up under Paul Higginbottom, it will definitely be something that people will be looking out for, especially Sheffield United fans, to see if Paul Higginbottom's got it in him to be able to pull their team back up out the Championship at the first time of asking. But I think, to be honest, if they had stuck with Chris Wilder, they definitely would have been doing that. He would have definitely had a big chance of pulling them up out the Championship at the first time of asking, but it's going to be a questionable one for Sheffield United fans moving forward. Let us know your thoughts, of course, about that down in the comments below. But it's just one of them things, I just don't have any faith in Paul Higginbottom, being able to pull them back up at the first time of asking. That's just my opinion, of course. The referee for the game is going to be Rob Jones. It's the second sighting of the season for the Merseyside-based Whistler, following on from a 2-1 home loss, of course, against Leicester in January. And on VAR, it's going to be Martin Atkinson from, of course, the Wakefield area in Yorkshire. So he is going to be sitting on VAR for the game. Hopefully, they do the job properly this season, but we haven't seen much in the way of good decisions by the referees this season. And of course, the last one, we did manage to get 2 penalties, but we well and truly deserved them for the way the team was playing. It was absolutely dreadful by them, by Man City, of course. In the last 3 home games of the season have been against 3 of the greedy 6, and of course 2 of them the past 2 seasons have been against Liverpool, and of course last season's was a 3-1 loss to Liverpool. The season before that was a 3-2 loss to Liverpool, and the season before that, in the 17-18 season, was of course a 3-0 win against Chelsea at St James's Park. The previous season before that was the 3-0 against Barnsley, like I say, against Paul Higginbottom's side, and the previous season before that, the 15-16 season, just before we went down in the Championship, was of course against Spurs in a 5-1 win. I'd love to see Newcastle United close out the last home game of the season with an absolutely massive win against Sheffield United. Let us know your score predictions down in the comments below. As always, remember, like, share, subscribe to 100% Mags, and I'll see you all next time. However that.